If debt is not helping you to generate more money, it is consumer, it's unproductive. So it's going to derail your financial prosperity or progress, right? Probably someone who is listening to us, they are already in a WhatsApp to raise some medical.
Or they are just about to enter one.
Right? Just imagine the disruption that brings. You get admitted for 1 week in a hospital. They require 700,000. Where is this 700,000 coming from? Your emergency fund that we saved is not enough.
Yeah.
What do? You have to seek help from other people. And these other people already have their own money problem.
Oh, yes.
Right? Remember, you are the sole breadwinner. And then you go, hey, now it's trouble in paradise. Nothing.
These are such real situations. These are things that happen every single day.
It is real.
Yeah.
So that family is exposed. You have left them with no investment, with bills to pay, with the loans to pay, and you are gone, and no income. Can we safeguard that risk? I call this as the most selfless product on the market because it takes care of other people that you made them. You are mindful about your children, you are mindful about your spouse, that you want to leave them if such a situation comes in a position where they'll never suffer.
Welcome to Beyond the Balance Sheet. This is the podcast where personal finance meets real impact. Now, we will be exploring, ordinary Kenyans who are doing extraordinary moves. Now, did you know that in June 2024, about 38% of Kenyans are the only ones that were financially literate? And even among those who are financially literate and know about money, very few have what we call financial intelligence. This is basically the skill of turning financial knowledge into wealth and making informed financial decisions. Now, in this podcast, we'll be diving deeper than the numbers. We'll be looking behind, the real stories of how people are building wealth, how people are navigating financial decisions, and even, we'll be redefining what it means to succeed financially. Now, before we get even further, we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors, VUCA Investment Club, who are the ones, making this possible for us. VUCA Investment Club are the first Kenya's financial wealth tech firm that are able to provide, investment in secure, profitable real estate investments that give you returns in the long term. Now, we'll be diving into several topics with different guests on the show, and I look forward to rethinking how we invest. Now, see you soon. Do not miss any episode. Feel free to subscribe now so that you don't miss an episode, and we'll be joining you soon with our first guest. So before we jump into today's conversation, I'd like to recognize VUCA Investment Club, who are the ones sponsoring this podcast. Now, VUCA are Kenya's first wealth tech platform that offer investing that is profitable, secure, and regulated investing in real estate. Now, some of the investments are in the Kwetu residential properties, among other investments that they have in the Kenyan space. Joining me is Alex Mwangi. Now, Alex Mwangi is a financial fitness consultant and an income wealth protection specialist. Now, Alex is passionate about helping individuals take control of their finances and build lasting wealth. Now, as a founder of Cent Warriors, Alex empowers people to master their money, grow their wealth, and protect it. Now, Alex, welcome to the show. And please feel free to add something that I've not mentioned.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christopher, for having me for this session. And I'm quite excited to share a bit of insights as a podcast will flow. Well, my name, as you have heard, is Alex Mwangi, and I'm in the business of helping professionals or individuals grow their money, protect it, and even the most important is master their money, right? Because we all know that financial literacy is a class we never went through, right? So we become so good at making money, but we miss the point of making that money build wealth or optimize it for growth.
I like that. You're really starting on a high, but let's take it a bit slowly, right? So let's go back to the basics. Okay, I personally am a financial coach as well. And I've come across individuals who come up to me and say, hey, Chris, I have 100,000 shillings. Where should I invest? What would be your response to that? Because I think that's a very common thing. We think that as long as we have money, we're ready to start investing. What did you say about that?
Well, I think that is quite a common mistake that you're doing. People are quite focused at investing, hitting the main thing instead of knowing the process of investing. So there's so much that you need to do before you even think about investing. Okay. And I'll be glad to share that with you.
Okay, so I hear you. So there's a process before you start investing. Don't just jump in immediately.
Absolutely.
All right. So for those of us who are still not sure, what is investing in your view? What is actually investing?
Right. Thank you for that. There are two concepts here. There's savings and investing. So most people confuse between those two. Now, we start with the basic, which is saving. Saving is simply putting your money somewhere that you're going to use. It's very short-term based, right? That money, when you put it there, you don't expect it to grow.
So if I'm putting my money in the bank, I'm not investing.
You're not investing.
I'm saving.
You're just saving in your current account.
All right.
So that is the most common type of saving, that I have an account, I'm just going to transfer my money there, and you have saved. But after 1 year, probably you are going to get less money from a bank account because of the charges involved, the withdrawal of that cash, charges. But when it comes to the investing, it's a different ballgame. Because when you're investing, you are allowing your money to work for you. You're giving a chance to your money to grow. How does money grow? It means it has to earn something we call interest. Interest is where your money gives birth to children. And then the children start giving birth to other children. And exponentially the money grows. So that is the art of investing. And people miss, to differentiate between the two.
I love that. Your money gives birth to children and your children give birth to children. But so then, how would somebody know if they're ready to start investing? Because I think why we're here is because people jump into investment too soon. So would you know what would be the problem of jumping into investment too soon? What are some of the things that maybe you've experienced of people who jump into investment too soon?
Right. The main problem is getting back to where you are, right? You can walk fast and say, I have this 100,000, just like you indicated, I want to invest. Then you invest. But something along the way will push you back to zero, where you would have started, right? So it's a progression process. And I've created 7 pillars that address that. And these pillars are things that you should do first before you even think about investing, right?
All right. So I get it. So before you start, there are certain things you must do. So just having money is not good enough. All right. So take us slowly. You've said there are 7 pillars. Okay. So what's the first pillar in this process?
The first pillar is the most common that we usually ignore, telling your money where to go.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
That is budgeting. In simple terms, budgeting is the act of planning for your money. Now you have this income. Where do you want it to go? Right? What are you assigning a purpose to every cent? Because if you miss this very important step, it means you are not going to secure your savings and investment and other important things that are coming in the next step, even before you go to investment. So that is the first line of your defense mechanism when it comes to creating your wealth. Why? If you don't do a budget, you are going to misuse your money. And you'll always wonder, where did my money go by the end of the month? It is a common thing and a common Kenyan thing for people to, get advance even before day 15 of the month.
Having too much month.
Having too much money than money.
Than the money.
But if you ask these people, what is the problem? I have no idea where my money went. Right. It means you had no structured method or plan for your money. And you're just taking out money, spending. Right.
I like what you say because it reminds me of, I like reading some books and came across this quote by John Maxwell. He says, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And it's amazing that you're just speaking the same things. But I'm just thinking, our Kenyan mentality, some of us think of budget as restricting our lifestyle, restricting, not giving me the ability to be free. So an element of discipline, is needed when it comes to budgeting.
Yep.
So how can you help people when it comes to discipline? How can you change their view, their mindset about viewing budgeting so that they can actually be more geared towards doing it? Yeah.
Absolutely. It starts from here. Now, because most of the time I handle professionals, people who have excelled in their career. These are people who will start in the whole boardroom full of executives to read a budget for the year of their company. The company is making billions, millions of cash. And yet, there's one thing that company has to do every year, budget, which is typically a forecast of our income and expenditure. It creates barriers on their expenditure and optimizes their income to give the most, right?
Yeah.
So who are we? With a little income. Just compare the billions of the company.
The billions we do every year.
Yeah. In fact, you should be budgeting more.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is not about restriction. It's giving yourself freedom to spend. How are you giving yourself freedom? If you want to go for that holiday, plan for it. In fact, because if you plan for it, there's likelihood you are going to achieve it. Right?
Yeah.
If you love going out, plan for it. All your leisure activities, plan for them.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss any so that you're able to enjoy your money at the same time, growing your wealth, right? So that after 20 years, 30 years, you won't wonder, by the way, I've been working for the last 30 years, I have nothing to show for it. It's because you avoided budgeting.
Avoid budgeting.
When you don't budget, you won't have even the investment. Because you have no compass.
All right.
Have no direction.
No, I like that because the common misconception is if I have little money, then there's nothing to budget. If I only make 10,000 shillings, then there's nothing to budget because I know everything mentally, of where this money is going to go.
Yeah.
So what I hear you say is, if I have little money, that is when I really need to budget even more.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that. So now we have set up the budgeting pillar. We are telling Kenyans, come on, this is the time to get serious.
Yeah.
Have some structure when it comes to your finances by starting with a budget. All right. Then what next?
The next one that I should talk about is debt mastery.
Okay.
The reason why this is very important in this series is because debt has become a burden to most people. Right?
Yeah.
They avoid budgeting, so they have a deficit.
Oh, yeah.
What does the government do when they have a deficit?
They borrow.
So we have become a government, right?
Yes.
And the reason why this proliferation of debt and this burden has increased is because of easy access to debt. Unlike 5 years ago, where you needed even probably the chief to sign
5 bank forms, a referee.
For you to access just a small amount of money.
Yeah.
Now you just need your phone, download an app. You have easy access of money. Now we have made debt to be part of our income. It's one of our income streams.
Oh, yes.
Right?
It is an interesting statistics actually that over about 80% of Kenyans have accessed mobile loans in some way or another. So it means right nowadays, it's as easy as just saying, I need 10,000 shillings. I download an app and I have 10,000 shillings extra to my budget, which you're now calling, people are making it a form of income as well. So it's not a good state that we are in, but proceed.
Yeah, absolutely. And now when you make debt, remember the 80% that you are saying, this debt has not been most of it. Let's say 90% of this debt, it is consumer debt.
Oh, yes.
You are trying to fill gaps in your budget because you did not direct your money where to go. So you engaged in unproductive things. So you are trying to fill that gap. That becomes consumer debt or unproductive debt. The thing that we call the bad debt.
The bad debt.
Right? If debt is not helping you to generate more money, it is consumer, it's unproductive. So it's going to derail your financial prosperity or progress. Right? So that is one. So we find out that people are having a lot of this and they want to get out. Right? So you have to pay off bad debt before even thinking about investment. Why? This debt that we are talking about, they are high interest debt.
Oh, yes.
Imagine you are paying 21%, 30%.
Oh, yes. Per month. Because the mobile loans are quite expensive. Yeah.
Tell me, what is the average return of investment in Kenya?
Oh, 13, 14%? You know.
Exactly. So does it make any sense for you to invest in a 12% return investment when you are paying 20% per month?
In debt.
Remember, 12% is per annum.
Oh, Alex, you're shouting now. You're shouting. You're not making very many people happy right now. But continue.
Absolutely. 20% is per month. That means per year, you're going to have paid what percentage? That is 20 times 12.
It's over 200%.
Over 200%.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make any sense. So it's good to practically pay off your debt first and then move to the next step, even before thinking investing.
All right.
That is the reason.
Okay. All right. So I handle my debt. I clear that. Then what else should I look out for? What are the other pillars?
The other pillar, that pillar, I call it now safeguarding. It's called safety vault.
Okay.
You know,
safety vault.
Safety vault, right?
Yeah.
Safety vault is where you safeguard your income and protect your investment. It includes a few things. The first one being an emergency fund. Right?
Nice.
An emergency fund is your caution when life throws at you, some arrows. You can be able to caution yourself. Unexpected expenses. Why? If you don't have an emergency fund, you are going back to where? To debt.
To debt.
Where we have come from.
Yes.
Right? So the reason why most people are in debt is because they lack an emergency fund. They are not able to address, emergencies that come along, during the month. So the only way to address that is debt. In fact, most debt givers, the lenders will sell their debt in this way. You can take debt from us as a form of an emergency. You go to the bank, to the circle, they have an emergency debt already set, set there for you.
Yeah.
Go to the credit companies, credit card from the bank. They give you as an emergency card, right? That you can address your need in case you have an emergency. But the main thing is you should create your own emergency fund, right?
So what did you classify as an emergency? Because I hear you saying, an emergency that comes up. What if there's an unplanned event, safari rally that has popped up that I had not planned for, and now my friends are calling me to go? Is that an emergency?
No, that's not an emergency. An emergency is something that you did not expect. It's something that comes from nowhere. You do not have seen it coming. It's like you can say, I never saw that coming.
Okay.
That qualifies as an emergency. Then it cannot wait. I have to address it right now. Like if you get an emergency travel to your home, right? Because there is a family issue, there's a funeral, you have to go there.
Yeah.
Now, as you are driving, your car gets a tire burst.
A tire burst or
right?
something, yeah.
You did not see that coming. That is an emergency, right? You go to a hospital. Yes, you have a medical insurance card, but there are some medicines that are not covered there.
Yes. Yes.
That is also an emergency, right?
Yeah.
But you going to Naivasha for safari rally, your budget, go back to your budget,
Go back to my budget.
plan for that coming 2 months time.
Yeah,
There'll be a
because the
safari
dates were
rally.
released early either way, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you know that.
Okay.
Plan for it, save for it, go ahead and enjoy yourself.
Okay.
But this emergency fund is supposed to address issues that you have not envisioned, especially even the job loss. Currently, just recently, we heard about, the USAID crisis and all that.
Yeah.
People lost their job.
Yeah.
Remember, these are people who are making a lot of money.
Yes.
Now, woe unto them if you do not have an emergency fund set up. How can you survive if that income, is taken away from you?
Your last salary is at the end of the month and you have nothing else after that. So in regards to that, then how much should I have as an emergency fund? What would be your guide as to what amount I should have as an emergency fund?
All right. The standard is usually 3 to 6 months, but this number depends on a lot of other scenarios. Now, if you are sole income earner in your family needs more of an emergency fund, of a caution, to caution you from all these events.
Yeah.
Probably 6 to 12 months, right? But if you are
of your expenses or income or
of your basic expenses.
Of your basic expenses.
Yeah.
All right.
We are not including the wants there. Things that you can avoid.
All
right.
All right.
So these will be your fundamentals. Needs and also probably insurance premiums.
Okay.
You need to include them there. At 3 to 6 months, that is a basic.
So if your needs are, for example, 50,000, so you're saying 50,000 times 6 would be like bare minimum you need is 300,000 as an emergency fund.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And something else it is another blind spot.
Okay.
Sometimes we think we are the only one who have emergencies. But probably you are an emergency fund to your extended family. Right?
You're the go-to guy.
You're the go-to guy.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens if they reach out to you? Oh, we have an emergency. What do? You either go back and disrupt your budget or borrow or take from your emergency fund. Now, I usually tell people, don't do that. When you create the 6 months emergency fund, add another 1 month to take care of these things. Yeah?
Family emergencies.
It is inevitable. Whether you like it or not,
so right.
It will happen.
So
people
true.
Need your support. Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have a safety net. We call it a vault.
A safety vault.
A safety vault.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
I like the way we are going. So if people should be following this. So we started with the first one was?
The budget.
The budget. Take control of your money. Tell your money where to go. All right. Then we went to debt management. Don't resort to, these mobile loans and all that, because now you're actually robbing from yourself in that aspect. Then we entered our safety vault. Now I feel like we are actually doing a foundation here for a house we are building. So now I feel like we are laying the foundation really well. Okay. So emergency fund, done. What's next?
The next item in the safety vault is your medical insurance. We have seen it. We have all seen it. We have experienced it. Probably someone who is listening to us, they are already in a WhatsApp to raise some medical.
Or they are just about to enter one.
Right? Just imagine the disruption that brings. You get admitted for 1 week in a hospital. They require 700,000. Where is this 700,000 coming from? Your emergency fund that we saved is not enough.
Yeah.
What do? You have to seek help from other people. And these other people already have their own money problem.
Oh, yes.
Right? So you would have safeguarded yourself with just little amount for medical insurance. In fact, the priority should be get an inpatient medical insurance first, because that is what can bleed your finances. Remember, if you don't have cash, what do? The investment. If you had skipped this step and you went straight to the investment, you're going to withdraw all your investment to address
liquidate your investment to sort your medical bills.
You're back to where?
Back to zero.
Where you should have started.
started. It's such an interesting thing that you say medical cover, because many of us, for those who are not in employment especially, because those who are in employment tend to have medical cover from their employers. Most employers offer medical cover. Now, the people in business tend to have the attitude that medical cover is a waste. It's a waste of money. I could have bought more stock. I could have done something else for the business. What would be your advice to these people? Because the value of taking up medical cover needs to really grow. I think the uptake of insurances in Kenya is less than even 10% of the population. So why is this thing really, really critical?
It is critical because we are talking about your income protection. If you're a businessman, and you have a business that is generating cash flow, especially for sole entrepreneur. Remember, you are the business, right? You don't have many employees working for you.
Yes.
Right now, I, Alex, if I'm not here, who would be talking? I'm the business.
You are the business.
You are the business.
Yes,
you are also the business.
Yes.
Now, if you get sick, what happens? It means there is that disruption of that income for that week.
Yes.
Imagine that there's a disruption of income generation, and then you have another need for more money to pay for your bills.
Oh, yes.
What will happen when you are coming back to your business?
It'll be double loss.
It will be double loss.
Yeah.
You won't be able even to pay the bills. But if you safeguard yourself that, at least you are going to secure, the income, the savings and the money that you are paying the medical, the medical bills with. But the other one, you can suffer for 1 week. But you see, you have already set an emergency fund to take care of such disruptions. So you are good. Your income is protected, and you are going to get into your business and just continue without any interruption.
I love this. This is how it's going. It's growing well. We are now on the walls. We've set up our emergency fund and we have medical cover. So our income is actually protected. And I think I love that because it's a change of mindset that I'm not looking at medical cover as a waste. I'm looking at it as protecting my income, in essence. All right?
Absolutely.
Okay, nice. Then how do we proceed after that? We're still not ready to invest. Are we ready yet?
Not ready.
Not ready. Okay.
Yes, the safety vote, another one thing.
Okay.
Called critical illness cover. Right?
Yeah.
Critical illness, these are things that we have witnessed in the society. People going to India for medication, harambes, people liquidating their land, their properties, all their investment to cater for these critical illness bills. These are things like cancer, kidney failure, coma, paralysis, right?
Yeah.
These are common situations in the society. And it always catch people hearts down, right?
Okay.
So we address this by having a critical illness cover that can pay you out to address these expenses if such a situation comes, right? Remember, we have medical insurance. Medical insurance have a specific critical illness coverage, but the sub-limit is usually very low.
Very low.
So people expect that because I have 2 million inpatient medical cover, I'm good, I'm secure.
Oh, yeah.
When you get to that hospital...
What they don't know is there are sub-limits within the 2 million.
Exactly. Okay. Probably 300,000.
Yeah.
And now you require 3 million.
So 300,000 is probably your flight and accommodation, not the treatment.
Exactly. So the 300,000 will get paid to the hospital. But you don't have money. Critical illness cover will pay you the cash. Then you can attend to your care and other things, right? So that becomes very, very important. And that one is even major even than medical.
Okay.
Because it demands a lot of liquidity. It demands a lot of cash.
Cash, yeah.
And you don't have that cash. So what would you have done if you don't have critical illness? If you don't have critical illness cover? Your investments, selling them, liquidating them.
Debt, WhatsApp groups.
Exactly. You are back to where?
Zero. Wow. You're really shouting, Alex.
So,
Give the guys a chance. So I like the
Yeah.
point where you said the inpatient medical cover,
Mhm.
the money is paid to the hospital. But with critical illness, the money is paid you. It's
Yes.
paid to you, as the patient, and you're able to use this money to seek treatment, like in other places of the world. Like, as you said, India is very popular for
That's
that.
true. That's true.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So are we ready yet?
Not really. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
I'm impatient like most Kenyans.
Yeah, like most, they would have given up. They would have given, this is too much.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Yeah. The other thing,
Yeah.
we are at fourth pillar.
Okay.
I call it the legacy vote. Why legacy? Now, you find out that most people have young families, right? People at their wealth creation. You already have a job, you're getting some income, so you have a family. Now, remember, the wealth building process have two objectives. One is to satisfy our current needs. We are able to have a good lifestyle.
Yeah.
Our children are able to go to good schools.
Good schools.
Yeah, we're able to enjoy life as it is.
Yeah.
The other objective is I'm able to pass my wealth to the next generation.
Wealth distribution.
Right?
Yeah.
Wealth distribution. Right? You are creating an empire where you are going to create more wealth that your children will also enjoy life and you're going to bequeath something for them. Now, here's a problem. That one, you're doing it with faith. That you're going to see 20 years for this to happen. In 20 years, you'll have properties, you'll have invested. What if that one doesn't happen? What if you're not there to make that happen? Who will suffer?
Oh, your children.
Your children.
Yeah.
That's why we call in whole life insurance. Whole life insurance is your plan B, right?
Okay.
That if you're not there, it steps in to take care of the people you love, right?
Yeah.
They will not suffer. They'll still go to the schools you intended them to go to. They'll still enjoy the lifestyle you wanted them to enjoy. Their life will still go smoothly. Now, I know you have experienced this in the society. A breadwinner
passes on.
What befalls to that family if they were the only sole breadwinner? The family nosedives.
Yeah.
Remember, probably we started, before passing on, we started from medical emergency.
Yeah. There are bills that are accumulated before that.
Right? Critical illnesses. You have already wiped up your wealth that you had accumulated. You have liquidated your investment, if not all. Remember, you are the sole breadwinner. And then you go, hey, now it's trouble in paradise. Nothing.
These are such real situations. These are things that happen every single day.
It is real.
Yeah.
So that family is exposed. You have left them with no investment, with bills to pay, with the loans to pay, and you are gone, and no income. Can we safeguard that risk? I call this as the most selfless product on the market because it takes care of other people that you mind them. You are mindful about your children. You are mindful about your spouse, that you want to leave them if such a situation comes in a position where they'll never suffer.
Yeah.
Now, you have protected them. These are your children. They have grown up. Now they are 20, 30 years. They have gotten their own income. They're not dependent on you. Remember, your whole life insurance is still with you.
Yeah.
Now, it turns out that it becomes an inheritance plan, right?
Yes.
You are going to bequeath them a cash, inheritance that they can even use it to develop other real assets that you are leaving them. Right?
So that's where generational wealth then start taking shape.
Absolutely. And that is how people can change their family tree from poverty and set up their generation to success through just simple whole life insurance.
Okay. So, in our African culture, we usually rely on family. So, for example, if I have a brother or sister and I have children, I would normally say if I pass on, my brother will take care of my children. But what we never factor in is we don't give them the money to take care of my children, to raise my children.
Absolutely.
So it means if he was also struggling financially, then the lifestyle of my children will also be affected. They might have to drop out of the schools that they were going, that they were going to. Their lifestyle may have to change drastically. Where they live they may have to move from where they live.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is such an important step that many people cannot afford to ignore, especially the part where it is something so selfless. We're thinking of the generation after us. And so as the sole breadwinner, you need to ensure that you have this in your portfolio no matter what.
Absolutely. And you see, the reason why it's coming before investment is in 1 year's time, if you're saving 10,000 or investing 10,000, you'll have 120,000.
Yes, at the end of the year.
At the end of the year. In that 1 year, if you had taken a medical, a whole life insurance cover of 40 million, and the worst happened in between that year, your family is going to receive 40 million.
Okay.
But someone who did not have the whole life insurance, the family is only going to receive the 120,000.
120,000, which are going to use to settle the funeral costs.
Absolutely.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah.
Is there a final pillar?
Yeah, there's
are we ready?
Not yet.
Tell us the final pillar. Then we can start this journey. All right.
The final pillar, not the final, just 2 remaining.
Okay.
The other pillar is the knowledge vault. Knowledge is taking care of your children's future education. Okay. Remember, children education is one of the biggest expenses that we have.
Okay.
If you don't plan it in advance, it means you're going to affect your budget by taking an allocation from your budget and paying school fees. That is your wealth leaving you. But now, here I advocate for people creating a portfolio of education. Where that portfolio can generate passive income to educate your children.
Okay.
Right? So this is where education planning becomes very important.
Okay.
Right.
I like that. So we are also going to create a portfolio for our children. And this also gives some stability. In case there's a job loss, my children will not be affected because of the investments that I've made. I like that. I really like that. Not many of us think about it. We always plan for our children's education from our salaries, not knowing that even that can end, considering our current circumstances.
That is true. That's true. And that's why passive income, creating that investment portfolio becomes very important because it doesn't matter whether you have an income or not, education is well taken care of. You already have an emergency fund.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I like it. So what's the final pillar now?
The final pillar is taking care of yourself. I call it the golden nest.
Golden nest.
The golden nest is you are aging. Remember, now you're very productive. Everything looks good. You are living well. What happens when you retire at 60 years and you want to live the same lifestyle and your income is not coming in anymore? Either you are going to degrade your lifestyle, move and go back to the village, or your life is not going to be the same. And as you age, the more expensive things like medical, bills becomes, and you also need some care, right? So here you are planning your life to retire with dignity. And here in this pillar, I advocate for just do the simple contribution in your pension plan. Simple. That even if you don't invest anything else, you are still going to have something
at the end of your working life cycle.
Exactly. Than having nothing. Right.
Wow. I think this has really been enriching. I love this discussion, and I like the way you've broken down all these concepts. And I even hope the people who are watching, I mean, you've heard the different pillars that you need to consider and plan for before you even start thinking of investing. Now it's time to make wise decisions. We have given you the knowledge. You now know what to do. If you are thinking of investing, go back and just rewatch this video and just look at whether you have checked the boxes on each one of these pillars. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your time with us. And if you'd like to not miss any more episodes just as insightful as this one's, hit the like button, share, and subscribe to this channel, and you won't miss any episode. Thank you so much, Alex Mwangi, for coming on the show, and we look forward to more insights in future.
I appreciate it.
And to our guests, let's continue rethinking investment together. I'm your host, Chris Nyalwal, and see you in the next episode.